This is Daily Dose of Darryl, Viewer's Digest from the Peebles Motivation Bureau, Season 2, Episode 42, July 17th through the 23rd, 2023, entitled Extra Success. It's part of a series of extras coming from the command to go the extra mile. If compelled to go one, go two. And this particular one is about our own personal success in many areas of our life and 7 specific areas with tips to help us have extra success. Enjoy and be sure to share with others. Tip number 1. Set goals. Many people teach the importance of setting goals. However, one of the things I like to emphasize is to set goals that are achievable. For instance, one of the natural things that occurs in life when we are born is that eventually we learn to lean up and roll over, and then we crawl, and once we master the art of crawling, eventually the next level. If you're a child and you're born and your goal is to run, you don't need to skip the crawling or the walking. So what are the areas in your life where you would like to progress or to achieve more or to do something you've never done before? Be sure to set goals, but make sure they are achievable goals. Most of us realize how good it makes us feel when we do finally achieve one of our goals. So the more success we have, then we set more goals that are achievable. Remember, set goals. Tip number 2, stay positive. So many people today talk about having a positive mindset, staying positive. One of the key words these days is called positivity, which I didn't even think was a word at first. I've always been fairly positive as a person, and even my blood type is B positive. But now, in order to stay positive, you'll find that it is easy to say, but oftentimes it's harder to do. I believe that you need a good foundation to be able to stay positive. I'll give you an example. I was pulling for a particular sports team one time, and I wanted to watch the game, so I recorded it. Unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to view it, someone told me the final score before I could see it. I did watch it, and as I was watching the game, my team was so far behind that it seemed impossible for them to win the game. If I had not known the final score and that my team was going to win, somehow, miraculously, I would have been very anxious, probably would have developed a defeated attitude. I may have even gotten very negative, but I knew the outcome, and so I really enjoyed the game, even though it seemed bleak at times. Because I knew the outcome, I stayed positive and was happy to watch it. The same is true in life. If you have a foundation that helps you understand the outcome of your life, it helps you remain positive. Here is my personal foundation. I do believe that God is love, regardless of how you interpret that statement. And I believe that I was created out of love, and that as I was created out of love, therefore the end result will be love in my life. And so the end result has to be good, because the Creator of who I am only wants the best for me. Now, a lot of people think that's simplistic, but I'm about to complete my 3rd quarter of a century, and so far I found that to be very effective to staying positive. I know how it comes out. Figure out what your foundation is and see if you have an ending that matches a good positive attitude and staying positive. Remember, stay positive on a good solid foundation. Tip number 3, embrace learning. When I started school, I was really small, living in a really small town, but they had good teachers and the educational system was really good, and I got a good foundation of learning. One of the things I discovered, though, when I was going through school was there seemed to be an emphasis on getting the right answers to get good grades. The goal was almost to ensure that you had good grades instead of emphasis on really learning things, although that took place. Along the way, somewhere, I made a transition from that mindset of getting good grades to simply wanting to know more. And I decided early on that everything I learned, every skill I developed, every experience that I had, all went into my toolkit, my bag of tricks, my box of devices to help in life. Therefore, I added as much as I could and valued learning those things. So I embraced learning early in my life. Let me give you an example in my life. When I came along, there was not a television, there was only radio. So I listened to sporting events and other major occurrences on the radio. Later on, about the second grade, they came out with television, which was fairly limited, but I learned to do the television thing. Through the years, I moved into the computer age finally, and then developed my own website and YouTube channel. One of the things I learned through that whole process is that one of my fraternity brothers said that I was a polymath. Well, I did not know what that was, but I thanked him, and then I went and looked it up. I knew that I had been called a jack of all trades and a master of none, but I discovered that a polymath is one that's interested in a diverse number of disciplines and fields of expertise, and they also get the training and education in those fields so that they can use them in an effective manner, even to help in other fields that they're working in. I encourage you, whether you are simply interested in one area of life or in many areas, to embrace learning in all of those areas because it only helps you in the long run. Embrace learning. Tip number 4, be passionate. I encourage people to always be passionate about what they are doing. So, whatever you're doing, make sure you're doing what you love. And then, if you're doing what you love, find ways that you can do what you love in a manner that people will pay you to do that. Plus, ask yourself the question, what is it in my life that if I knew that I could do it today and would not have to be restricted by a job or other duties, what would it be that would get me out of bed in the morning because I simply love doing it? Now, once you figure out what that is, then that will help you channel that passion into other responsibilities, income-producing areas, and help you grow as a person. But first, you must discover your passion. What is it that really turns you on? Be passionate. Tip number 5, communicate well. Communication is oftentimes a lost art these days because we have so many ways to communicate, and many of them are nonverbal, whether it's text messages or other types of devices, or many times auto-generated voices and messages, or computer-enhanced imaging. So, the art of communicating might get lost in the shuffle. When we were created, apparently, most of us were created with 2 ears and 1 mouth. Now, that should be a tip for us in itself, because the art of communication is not talking to someone, but it's communicating with someone, which requires both listening and talking. When considering the area of listening, too many times people are listening to someone just barely because they're thinking about what they want to say next. Therefore, they miss much of the other person's communication. They weren't really focused on listening for the sake of listening. To communicate well, one of the first things we must do is to learn to be very strong in the area of listening. Secondly, being good listeners can then help us learn how to form and communicate our thoughts, feelings, and emotions into words that we can communicate and verbalize. And even beyond that, we can move to other forms of media to be able to communicate our messages that we have inside. So, remember, learn to communicate well. Tip number 6, have fun. The art of having fun can be lost these days because it seems that responsibilities, whether they're work-related or family-related, tend to be increasing. I was told that the computer would give people more free time. However, because of the internet and companies that deliver the internet and the complicated nature of computers, too often these things have more places that can break down, and more of our energy is required to maintain and repair these things and even learn how to function without them when they are broken. So many times, much more of our time is taken up by the actual devices and systems that were created to save this time. Life is hard enough on each of us, so we don't need to be hard on ourselves. We need to be sure to generate, create, and set aside time to do fun things. But more importantly, we need to learn how to incorporate fun in our life each moment, learning how to have fun in the midst of hard times. One of the ways that I do that is programming my brain to look for the humor in every situation. Because it's there, oftentimes it requires us laughing at ourselves and to maybe take a step back as a third party and look back at ourselves, look back at the situations, and find the humor in these things. Plus, if you can find creative ways to share that humor, that just enhances the process for you. Also, remember to just simply have fun. It's one of our top responsibilities and priorities that will affect everything else in our life, especially our attitudes. So, what are you going to do? Have some fun and look for the humor. Tip number 7, take care of your health. There is an entire economic boom and an entire industry about health these days. It comes from people that produce and market various pills, lotions, and potions, on down to people that teach a variety of ways to exercise on land and in the water and even on the internet, on down to various systems that have been set up that supposedly will enhance your health, even though no one can explain how. Therefore, it's not uncommon to be told, take care of your health. But I like to emphasize the fact that we should do that to the extent that we can control. For instance, when I looked at my parents, I realized that I had their DNA, or in essence, I had a pair of genes. Well, it was spelled Genes. I got genes from my mother, and I got genes from my dad. I looked at my dad's life, seeing that he worked hard, but aside from the various injuries from working and staying out in the sun too long, he had things like hardening of the arteries. He had things like debilitating arthritis. He had implants in his eyes, plus many things. All of these resulted in him being disabled at age 58 and dead at 68. When he was young, he smoked cigarettes, and on the weekend he drank alcohol. And when he was in his 40s, he developed health issues. His doctor indicated to him that the cigarettes and alcohol were not only causing but exacerbating those issues. So he immediately threw those out of his life and never touched them again. However, much of the damage had been done, plus his genes did not fight off those kinds of substances very well, and so with his genes and his DNA, he ended up being disabled early and of course died at age 68. As a result of that, I made a decision early on to not smoke and to limit my alcohol consumption to almost none. I also set up a system in my life that would cause me to exercise every day, whether it was through continuing in track and field competitions or swimming or other events. My mother, on the other hand, lived to be 86. Nevertheless, she developed also degenerative disc and arthritis and some other types of issues. As a result of watching them, I realized I needed to do whatever I could to take care of my health. And even though I did that, I still realized that my dad went from 6 feet to 5 feet 8. My mother went from 5'8" to 5'2" with degenerative disc and the arthritis. Even though I have passed my 74th birthday, I'm in still, pretty decent health. I've had a variety of issues that come from those genes, though, including going from 6'1" to somewhere between 5'10" and 5'11". The bottom line is, there are some things you simply can't avoid, but you can deal with them the best you can. I like to use the illustration that I was dealt a hand of cards, and they're called my genes, my DNA. But basically, I'm playing those cards face down, and I don't know what the cards are that I'm playing with. So I have to be very sure to play them the best I can before the game is over. How are you playing the cards that you have been dealt in order to take the best care of your health that you can? I encourage you to take care of your health. Summary: set achievable goals. Stay positive. Embrace learning. Be passionate. Communicate well. Have fun. Take care of your health because it's the only health you have. This is Darryl R. Peebles, the man behind the microphone, bringing you something positive each day from the Peebles Motivation Bureau, both positive, personal, and professional. Remember, there are 3 divisions: digital, real life, and print. But in the digital, we have not only the YouTube channel, but the website, Zoom events, and much more. In the real life, we do pulpit supply, funerals, weddings, magic shows, keynote speakers, and more. And in the print division, not only books, but magazine articles, newspapers, and custom artwork. Locally ordered books from me can get signatures and special discount. This one is already out and about, helping others. Churches and pastors have special discounts. I appreciate you, your ideas, and support. Keep them coming. These are other areas that I might be able to help you, and these are my contact points. This is Daily Dose of Darryl, responding to the free and gracious gift of God. I am using humor, the art of illusion, modern technology, and decades of serving God and communities to work every day to uncover the beauty in all people and experiences coming my way, endeavoring to educate, entertain, and inspire. Each dose on this channel can help move us toward a better, healthier, and more informed mind, body, and spirit. I'm excited to be a small part of the expanding of our capacity to learn, love, and forgive, and together leave this world a better place for all. God bless you.